to another edition of ManClub. Today we're going to install Unorthodox Racing's lightweight crank pulley. I did buy the stock diameter. I didn't go with the underdrive pulley size. Figure it's easy with the belt, and the smaller one, it could underdrive some of your accessories, and to me it's not worth the extra 15% horsepower or whatever you're supposed to gain. I don't know. It's not much. So I figured I'd just go with stock and see how it goes. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, some of the tools we're going to use today. I did buy a couple specialty tools. This is for the tensioner pulley. 14 millimeter on this side is what I use, and I guess the other end is some other Hondas use 19. And this is really easy to release the tension on the belt. This made it real nice. You could just use a wrench, but I figure, you know, this is pretty cool, and it's an excuse to get a tool. Made in the USA, and not too expensive. I think it was about 20 bucks. And the other thing was, here is the stock pulley holder, which fits a square, breaker bar, 1/2 inch right there. Went ahead and got a new belt, even though my other belt was just over 2 years old. And might as well change it while you're in there. It's only 20-something bucks from Amazon. Make sure you get the right model. This is the one for the V6 for me. We used a pencil to mark our angles for torquing back the impossibly tight bolts. I did use a 6.19 millimeter because I don't want to strip that. You do not want to strip that crank bolt, So, and here's a torque wrench and a couple of 1/2 inch extensions, a real long one, and a couple of breaker bars. And there's some other stuff that we used. I'll throw that up on the screen. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pulley that's just been machined. You can kind of see there's still oil in the grooves and all that, so we're going to fill up the sink with some soapy hot water and give it a good bath. Okay, now that it's been soaking for a few minutes, I never throw anything away. Here's an old toothbrush of mine, and it's perfect just to get down in these grooves and get that oil out of there. So just give it a little, once over. You can also do this with a like brake fluid cleaner or carburetor cleaner too, if you don't want to do it in the sink. But yeah, this way I don't have to use any chemicals, so I'm cool with that. Alright, to start things off, we're just going to get it out in the driveway. We're going to chock the rear wheels. I have a 6-speed manual, so I'm going to put it in 6th gear, roll the windows down, pop the hood, get out, and I'm going to jack it up, support it with jack stands in the front, both sides, and pull out the right side wheel, passenger side front wheel. I guess we need to break loose the lug nuts before we get it up in the air as well. And then we'll get going on the fun. Alright, now that we've got the wheel off, it's up on jack stands, wheels off, we're going to come on underneath here. And there's a clip here, and I think there's one right under here, and we'll just take this little cover off. Okay, we just fold this plastic piece down out of the way, because it looks like, you'd have to break some plastic to completely remove it. And we have our stock pulley here, but before we take a hack at that, we need to get the belt off. Okay, to remove the belt, we're going to start in on the front side of the motor, which is the passenger side for the J35 Z2, or the manual transmission. It's kind of buried in here, but this is your top pulley. If you follow that underneath, where it goes down to, and it wraps around this one with the black wheel here. I don't know if you can really see that too well, but that is the hydraulic tensioner. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a 14 millimeter wrench on there, and it's hydraulic, so don't just go torquing on it. All you got to do is consistent pressure, and just let you got to push the fluid out of the way. So just kind of get it on there and push it forward, and then I'd pull it right off here at the top. Okay, so we hook our bar on there. We slowly rock it towards the back. And that's plenty, I guess, to pull it right off the alternator is the easiest one. It's nice and small. You just pull it from there, and there, it's off. Alright, so some people at this point, they say, alright, to remove our pulley, just use a really high speed or air gun or something like that. Well, I don't have that here today, so What I did go get is this guy here. I mean, like, what the hell is this? Well, let me show you something. This guy fits right inside of there like that, and it's keyed on the end here for a 1/2-inch breaker bar. So we use that to hold the pulley still while putting a 19mm here and a separate breaker bar. We should be able to steady the pulley and break this guy loose. And I got a feeling it's going to be kind of tight, so I'm going to put the camera down for this one. Well, that wasn't easy at all. This is the rig that we wound up having to use. I had to call a buddy to have him come over here because I just couldn't do it by myself. Again, we're not using pneumatic tools. We're just going for the old brute force method. So we have a car ramp on a jack stand with a 20-inch extension on the socket, 25-inch breaker bar. And I had this old scraper, and you can see we even bent that getting it off. So that bolt is really, really on there. So if you're meek or mild when it comes to doing mechanical stuff, I'd probably take it to a shop for this one, because that was not easy. Okay, so we just pulled the old one off. Just kind of wiggle it, slowly pull it, and slide the new one on in the same order. It was real clean there. The manual talks about wiping everything down, but this is a pretty new motor and all that, so it was really clean. And then we're gonna put some motor oil on this bolt here, just a little bit, and in between here and on the threads, and put it back into 47 foot-pounds. And then there's some special magic after that. We'll get to that in a second. Alright, so we had to stand on the brakes and tighten this down to 47 foot-pounds. And I got a little like pencil here, China marker they call it, and I marked the top and marked 60 degrees. So basically I'm going to stand on the brakes again. I'm going to turn this until that red mark on this bolt is even with that 60 degrees, more or less. Well, the tightening of the pulley was pretty difficult. You had to crank on it just as hard to put it back to the torque spec as you did to, get it off, which makes perfect sense. And now that's all done. We didn't use impact tools. The manual specifically states don't use impact tools to retighten it. I guess it's probably used to get it off because that was way too difficult. But now that that's all done, we're going to get out our tool again here. The 14mm side is what we use on the hydraulic tensioner, and we're going to just put the new belt back in. I'll throw a graphic up on what the belt pattern looks like. I just went ahead, and my engine's only 2 years old, but since I'm in here, I go ahead and put a new belt in just because. For the J35 Z3 or manual transmission, a 14mm wrench or special tool can be used. For the J35 Z2 or automatic transmission, use a socket wrench. Alright, so this concludes another edition of ManClub, and it was a tough one. I'm not going to lie to you, not for the faint at heart. If you're, unless you're really experienced with taking off crank bolts and stuff like that, I got the sticker here. It says you are better off paying someone else to do it, because from what I've seen on the forums and whatnot, people are paying $80, $100, and to be honest, if I had to go do it all over again, I'd probably pay somebody to do it. But we got it done, and we're happy with the results. So it's time to do the test drive now. With that said, until next time, keep them hanging.